What's up, everybody? How you doing out there? It's your man, Governor Wildstar, chiming in for a quick exclusive. If you guys are paying attention to this at all, I know it's awfully late here on the West Coast, and where my guest is, my friend who I'm going to jump in here, my man, TJ Shelton. What's up, TJ?
What's up, brother?
Thank you, man, for being here with me. Where you at, TJ?
I'm in the first state. I am in Delaware, slower Delaware to be more specific. It's a little after midnight here.
Oh, damn. Well, yeah, I appreciate you sitting down with me. Like I said, man, um, unfortunately, there's another national tragedy on our hands here in America. So, um, like I said, I appreciate you being here, but I wish it was under different circumstances, you know.
Yes, sir.
But if the people out there haven't heard by now, there was another tragedy out there in Minnesota, the state where the killing of George Floyd happened, actually in Minneapolis, the same city, about 10 miles away, I believe they said.
Yeah, something like that. 2 minutes, 10 miles, not far.
And yeah, not far at all, same neighborhood, same city of where George Floyd was killed last year, around this time, actually. And now there's another tragedy involving an unarmed civilian being shot and killed by police. And this is a black man based on the demographic, the area where they are. So the person killed by this police officer was a 20-year-old black male. I had a daughter. It's 1 years old. So it's sad that this is again another situation is gripping our nation, another abuse of authority by our criminal justice officials, and it's angering the people and causing them to go out and protest against the this negligence, if that's what you want to call it. But I think it's more than that because you have to be paying attention to do your job. And these are paid professionals that we are hiring as a community to provide a service to us. So it's a failure when one of them doesn't do that, and feels like they can hide behind the costume and badge to protect them in their position. So I know you saw the video already, TJ. Any thoughts that you wanted to share on the matter so far?
Man, the only thing I can say on this one is there was quite obviously not officer malice involved. Like with Chauvin's case, and the fact that they used to work together, right? Work in security together and so on and so forth. I've always questioned whether or not there was malice involved there. But in this case, the chick sounds like she's being quite honest with her statement that she meant to draw her taser.
Right.
So for this lady, it seems to be a really unfortunate accident. But what do we do with that? I mean, a daughter just lost her dad, a mom just lost her son, somebody just lost their life by somebody who's technically, quote unquote, in our employ. I mean, the Minnesota folks employ, but still a representative of our government is has executed yet another human being.
Exactly. You're right about, I guess, the intent involved in this situation, opposed to where with George Floyd, it seemed more like he was harming him purposely
Yeah.
versus this lady. She was extremely remorseful and was shocked herself about what she had done. If you guys haven't seen the video yet, I will be playing it here, a portion of it. So if you don't want to see it, or or have seen it enough, you might want to turn away. But for those people out there that haven't seen it, I thought I'd just give you an idea as to what happened, because the body cam footage uh, from the killing actually was just released by the police chief, I believe. Said he wanted to be transparent, to make the information available to the public, to kind of quell the amount of frustration in the community. So if you guys see the video, hopefully that'll add to your opinion and your response to it as well. So I'm just going to show that here for you. All right, so here she's approaching the vehicle.
As I watched the video to the officer's commands, it's my belief that the officer had the intention to deploy their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet.
All right, so let me pause it right there really quick, because as you see, guys, they pulled him over. From what the police report says, he had I guess a deflection, which was an air freshener hanging from his rear view mirror, and the police pulled him over for obstruction of view, wanting to ticket for that. He's driving a fairly new car, which I believe his mother said she had just bought him. So he's in the car. He has a passenger in the car, which is his girlfriend, and the police pulled him over. They said you have a warrant, and that's why they were attempting to arrest him. Now, the warrant, I ended up finding out, was because he had, I guess, possession of marijuana or something like that.
No.
For possession of marijuana. And that's where it led to him then attempting to be arrested by the police officers, who you see here are now struggling with him as he attempts to flee the scene. So I'll play it from there. And they said expired registration, but again, the mother said she just bought him the car. I'm pretty sure she made sure that the tags was good. I don't think this video is actually going to play the full thing, but if you guys check it out, definitely please do so, because it basically just shows you that when she went to taser, she went to notify the other police officer she was going to tase him, but she's holding her gun, and she shot him. And as soon as she shot him, she was like, "Oh my God, I shot him," because he ended up driving away. But a few things about the video that I wanted to discuss with you, TJ, is because I know a lot of people are upset about this police shooting in particular, but with all due respect, with what's going on in our country, being a black man, why the hell are you trying to run from the cops, man? You know what I'm saying? They're trigger happy. I'm pretty sure he's been taught this, have learned this just off of looking on what's going on, with everything else that's happened in the nation. But that's the problem right there as far as him. But the bigger problem is with her. I mean, because she has a greater responsibility as a public servant. She's the one working for the citizens versus the citizens having to, bear a greater responsibility. So with her using her taser, or I guess thinking that she had her taser but shooting him, those two things look and feel differently. The tasers are like bright yellow. The gun is black, of course, and it's heavier opposed to the taser, which is lighter. You also have to switch them from what is it?
Safety off.
Yeah, exactly, in order to use them. So is it an amount of negligence here, or lack of training, or just the response in general to somebody that's fleeing the scene is the problem? What do you think about that, TJ?
When I told Moriah about it on a video chat earlier, and I told her that it was an accident, you know what she said? She says, "Are you sure? How do you know?"
Wow.
She was questioning, due to what she knows about how things work around this piece. She was questioning that it was an accident. And then my nephew asked, he says, well, like, doesn't their gun have to have its safety on when it's in the holster? When she took it out and she turned the safety off, he asked, one, does the taser have a safety? And yes, indeed it does. But whether or not they're placed the same in the field, that's a different story. But I would go even further, brother, and say that it's kind of an atrocity that if indeed his warrant that they were wanting to hold and pick him up on, that he ran in fear of being picked up on, was over a simple possession.
Yeah.
Like that's just a testimony of a broken law system. If he's afraid and runs because he doesn't want to get caught up in the system, and his only crime was a possession of marijuana charge, that in itself is a really sad statement. And you know, so both of them, in the heat of the moment, their prefrontal cortex wasn't engaged. Okay, if he was really thinking logically, he wasn't going to try and run. Right. And if she was thinking logically, she wouldn't have mistook what device she got out of her belt. You know, that's like, if they've already got his name, you don't run. You don't run from the cops when they got the name. What are you going to do? Go underground forever? Especially if all you run in front is a possession rap. And to me, it's a shame that there's even a such thing as a possession rap that he might have felt the need to run from. But none of this solves the problem that little girl faces without him now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The one thing about the police officer is, what's up, Euban? Thank you for being here, as well as Miss Swaggy. Thank you for tuning in as well. The one thing about the police officer bearing the greater responsibility is what you said about the draw. You know, I think every police officer's utility belt or whatever is the same. So the right hand draw is your service weapon, and the left hand draw is your taser. You know, so she definitely was not in the moment thinking clearly to where she drew her service weapon, armed it, by taking it off safety and then firing at this man. When, like you said, they had his information. Is it really necessary to, put everybody in danger there when you can simply just track him back, track him down? I'm pretty sure they got helicopters in Minneapolis, so if it turned out to be some high-speed chase, it ain't like you can run anywhere because they're going to know where you are and where you're going. So they definitely would have been able to track him down and locate him if needed be later on, if he was able to flee the scene. But she put the people in danger. She put other officers in danger. And that's where I would say we should be drawing a line as a community, because these are public officials. They are paid by taxpayers to protect people of the community. But when they're putting them in greater harm, that's something that we shouldn't be accepting. Now, the police chief did come out and say, I guess, that, it was an accident. And based on that, as well as the, I guess, situation of his arrest, since he was supposedly going to be taken into custody and decided to run, she won't be found guilty. She probably won't even be, charged criminally for this. So it'll be a payment to the family, some sort of settlement fee, blood money, to say, we're sorry for your loss. Here's a few $1 million and go about your way. But whatever happens to accountability, shouldn't these people have to, take a responsibility for their actions, especially when they're supposed to be trained to respond a certain way?
Yeah, and it seems like that in a case like this is a bridge that their training really should have crossed heavily. You know, if they're gonna mount both weapons on their belt, I don't think there's a standard issue side for the service weapon. It seems to me like that would be very crippling to a left-handed officer. So
Well, just for the draw, you know, you need both hands, and I guess that's how they train them, is to pull one, use both hands to shoot. You know.
yeah.
So if you are
Yeah, but so if you're a left-handed shooter, if you're a left-handed shooter and you draw with your right, you still got to get your hand down around under the butt and your left wrapped around it. So to me, it would still seem that it would be a disadvantage to the officer, the left-handed officer, if the loadout required the service weapon on the right. But it sure seems like that them fully loaded in their shooting training simulator situation should get them past such mistakes like this. And I wonder if when they're in those shooting simulators like that, if they go fully loaded taser and service weapon, and that if they have to holster it, because like the times that I've seen it on TV, right? They're like walking through with their weapon out the entire time, and they're holding it. It's decide shoot, no shoot at the pop-up target, right? Maybe they need to send them in fully loaded with their full belt and make them holster in between. Maybe it seems like that would be something that should be part of their training if it's not already, that something like this could help us learn to incorporate. I've never heard of a case like this before.
Yeah, neither have I. I mean, but I'm pretty sure in light of all of the officer involved shootings, if we were to do more digging, we find out there were more situations like this. But it does boil down to a matter of training. I saw a few comments here from Euban, who says about the type of gun. He said if it was a Glock, I guess it has a blade trigger, and then he states the type. I don't know shit about guns like that. You know what I'm saying? No. Point and pull the trigger, but yeah.
So wait, an officer can carry as their service weapon a pistol with no safety is basically.
No, yeah, that seems very alarming just in itself. But
yeah, me it does.
Gina asked if she can ask a question. Gina, if you're still watching, yes, definitely feel free to ask a question. We'll be sure to answer that. You know, of course, as best as possible. But a few opinions that I've heard swirling about, because of course you got the people on the far right, you know, the back to blue, thin blue line folks, the bootlickers, basically saying you should have complied. Okay. Now this is my big gripe with those type of people. You are saying that this person should just comply to authority and they wouldn't have to worry about there being a problem. Then why make an argument against wearing a mask? Because many of those same people have a problem with the government telling them to wear a fucking mask or get out the store or whatever the case is. You know, you can't come to school, you can't fly, and all of this other stuff. Why wouldn't you just comply? It's the same sentiment, same idea. Wouldn't you think, TJ?
Oh yeah, not only that, but just complying doesn't always work either. I mean, ask that I could go into name after name of situations where compliance didn't work.
Right.
So compliance doesn't always work. So just to say compliance is the magic sauce to living, that's not the truth at all.
You just have the military veteran over in Virginia, the guy that was pulled over. Actually, he was active duty in uniform, pulled over by the police, and he had his hands up, hands out the window, and they're telling him to get out. He said, "Look, I just want to know why you're pulling over. Just stop yelling at me, okay? Let's just talk like human beings. Just speak to me." And the police officer was just extremely aggressive, saying you're being problematic. He whipped out his mace and maced the guy, and so he's being compliant, but he's also asking, as he should, why am I being pulled over? Why am I being, detained at this time, opposed to going about my way? So we shouldn't think that we should not be able to question authority and them just tell us what to do with, and we don't speak up about it at all. Gina asks, she says, why kill a person? Why not shoot at the legs, disable them rather than killing someone? They need this type of training, even in a hand shootout. She's absolutely right. I mean, why are police officers shooting to kill opposed to, disabling them, like she's saying? Why do you think that is, TJ, that our law enforcement personnel isn't taught to, I guess, shoot to disable the person versus the, two-tap or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I actually asked this of someone the other day. Is like, yeah, why don't they kneecap people? Like, I don't understand that. Like, and he said that center mass eliminate the threat. So theoretically, if they have drawn their weapon and they're shooting at somebody, they're in a dangerous situation where somebody has a weapon and there's potential of returning fire and so on and so forth. And in a situation like that where they have a weapon to shoot back, well, a kneecap doesn't keep you from getting shot. But we all know that the majority of the time that these things occur, or at least the ones that we see, the person doesn't have a weapon and aren't fixing to shoot back. So it's kind of like a weak reasoning for most of what we see. And especially like somebody's running, like that Isaiah Murrieta kid, right? Yeah. Here in Fresno, right? He jumped the fence and was running, and an officer popped him and took him in the head, right? And the other officer
in the back of the head.
And this was a 16-year-old kid running away from them.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell that guy got off. I mean, it's sad that with video evidence, we have to argue if someone meant to kill someone,
Yeah, and this kid was running full bore away.
Yeah.
If he was reaching to pull up his pants. But even if he was reaching for a gun, he had to get it out, get it cleared, get turned around and pointed back at them, because he ain't running shooting over his shoulder while he's sprinting. And they thought it was a good shot and okay to have discharged a weapon at him fleeing top speed. So yeah, nah. And again, a whole lot of times that guys get shot, they say, oh, he was going for a gun. Nah, bro, he was hiking up his pants so he could outrun you is what was happening. Right? That's unfortunately, and I tell my son, like, man, even if you think about running, don't hike up your pants. Don't hike up your pants. Get ready to run.
Don't even run.
I've ran from cops.
well, TJ, you're braver than most for sure. But I would not suggest people do what TJ does. Do not run.
Did. I got a lot of younger, dumber days behind me, bro. A lot of younger, dumber days. But that natural reaction, if you're thinking about running, right? And you out in a pair of shorts and stuff, and you think about running, first thing you're gonna do is go to hike up them pants a little bit to get ready to step. So like a lot of times a kid might there's cases where a kid didn't even really start to run and got shot, and all it was is because they say he reached for something in his waistband, when in reality it was probably just his natural reaction, like, okay, let me get ready to run First thing I got to do is hike these pants up real good right quick.
Yeah, especially if you sagging and shit and they're drooping, and then you're moving at that speed, they're bound to fall down if you don't have them hiked up. So you're right. It's just a natural instinct for you to do so you can run faster. But it's sad that we even have to think about fleeing from people that are supposed to be protecting us. You know what I mean? It's funny because me and Crystal earlier, we were riding through the neighborhood, and it was a whole bunch of like police trucks at the park. You know, kids there, people playing basketball, bike riding, all sorts of stuff. But the police, it's like 2 or 3 of these trucks just parked in the parking lot, and they have this intimidating presence about them where you feel threatened. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, you feel like something can happen. It's kind of like being around some gang members, and they're walking up, you know, like 10 deep, and they just colors blazing, you know what I'm saying? Got the guns openly visible, and they just walk up and park up and, you know, post up and shit. You're like, is everything cool? Should I, you know, is something about to pop off or what? That's just the feeling that they present. And these, again, are public officials. They work for us. They're supposed to be providing a service to the community to protect us, protective services, but we feel threatened by them. Why should we continue to allow it to exist? And, or better yet, how do we go about dismantling it? Since you have the Black Lives Matter organization saying, you know, defund the police and ending qualified immunity, and other states like Maryland, believe it or not, the first state in the entire union to get rid of the police Bill of Rights. Okay, this is an extra layer of protection that protects police. You know, they have their own Bill of Rights versus the Bill of Rights that protects us all. So it's great that they're taking that step, but what else is needed in order to bring about that level of accountability where we can trust these officials once again to provide this noble service to us? What do you think?
I think right now the top-down policy is they would like to disarm us to have us more malleable and controllable. They want us to be to, I guess, cower away from their cracking arm. I think that is by design, and that like over time it's gotten actually a little bit better than it has in past, but that it's still got a long ways to go to get to where it should be, where they're dealing with us civilly. Like you get into, like you were saying, with a group of them, right? You're like, oh man, this could go all bad. You get into a little bit of a verbal altercation with one of them, they're not good at de-escalating. And right. I'm good at matching energy. Like they ratchet up, I ratchet up, we argue back and forth. Next thing you know, I'm in the back of one of their vehicles. But take cases like Sandra Bland. What'd she get pulled over for? A tail light out or something like that? And that whole thing being on video, and how that officer really escalated the hell out of that situation, and then for her to wind up dead that night, and like that's just asinine. Like what in the hell happened there?
A simple traffic stop, supposedly, you know, as they call them, like you said, a tail light out, or in this case, with Dante Wright, you know, it was a air freshener.
Yeah, so, that's what I heard, was air freshener. They said expired plates on that video, but right. What I heard, it was obstruction of view from a little dangly tree thing, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. So, he just came from the car wash. He had one of those, you know, and they followed him from the car wash. And then, you know, that's where it pretty much began. But that's the saddest part, that something can be escalated from something so small where it can lead to a person's death. When did that become acceptable in society, especially in this country where we're calling ourselves free people? We're acting like we're enslaved, like we're under somebody's ruling authority, and then we're demanded to behave as such. Like you said, it's a match of energy. They don't walk up to you like, "Hi, sir, apologize to interrupt you." They're not respectful or any.
Yeah, right. What am I supposed to be? Their dog? They come up acting like a dick, and I'm supposed to be, "Oh, I'm so sorry,
Yes,
sir." Nah,
yes,
man, come on.
exactly. That's what they expect, bro. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. In our country, 5 to 6 people per day on average die from encountering law enforcement officers. Now, I'm not saying that all of those maybe don't have some type of a real reasoning that it occurred, unlike today's or yesterday's um, accidental problem, or other cases of where yeah, dude was really like shooting up a spot and they took him out. Okay, well, all right, cool, that's different, right? That's them actually being sheepdogs and protectors and so on and so forth. But to me, it's rare that you meet an officer who doesn't go arrogant if you don't like appropriately yes sir, no sir him like he's your authority of some sort, when that's not how I see them, and I don't think that's how we should see them. I know there was this thing back and forth a while ago as to whether or not they're law enforcement officers or peace officers who's supposed to protect and serve. If they're law enforcement officers, I ain't got time for them. I ain't got no respect for them, so on and so forth. I'll be kind to them. I'll try and deal appropriately with them. But to me, like, that kind of job is for somebody who wants to protect and serve the rights of citizens in this nation. And it just doesn't seem that that is something where they're trained, because most of the time when I see an officer's authority the least bit impinged upon in his perspective, not from my perspective, from his perspective, like, he turns it up 10 notches, and somebody just feeding back a little bit of what he gave takes it up even further, and a lot of times that ends really badly for the person, and they get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we got a comment right here on the screen from someone that feels exactly that way. That resisting arrest is what escalates these situations. 1 + 1 = 2, she says. Then that is on you. So I want to tell you one thing, Jenny, is when a police officer has no reason to be arresting you, are you now resisting arrest? Because that's called an unlawful arrest. And we have to go through the legal system to prove that. But usually they tack on some sort of criminal charge, which is the resisting arrest charge. It's simply a trumped up charge to create a criminal charge out of a unlawful arrest, unlawful stop.
Yeah, an unlawful stop, right? Yeah, that's usually when you hear they're up for resisting arrest. That's because they didn't have any real reason to harass this person to begin with.
Exactly.
The person was like, "Dude, bro, why are you bothering me?" And he's like, "Shut up and listen." I'm like, "I ain't gotta listen to you." And poof, there it goes. Right? Yeah.
And now they're resisting arrest. And if this is some guy, yeah, it's happened to me too. I mean, shit, I was walking to work and I simply just said, "Man, I'm on my way to work. Look at me." And it's the only reason why you stopping me is because I'm black. He said, "Yes." Next thing you know, I'm getting roughed up and arrested. I mean, it took all of 10 seconds flat. People don't understand. It's like you're not given enough time to even talk to these people sensibly. They're still people. They're still people. They do have a role in the community, you know? But that road should be first based on respect. And if you're not giving me respect as an individual, then I can't give you any respect in return. Period. I don't care what costume you're wearing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In order for me as a man to be able to respect you and your manhood, because usually these are guys that are drummed up on testosterone and aggression and, want to feel like they got some machismo over you, So when you don't act like, yes, sir, massa, whatever you like, massa, then they're going to beat it into you. And they do it with, I can simply arrest you and use the color of law to abuse you. And it's sad because a lot of people do think like that. Yes, you've been status are definitely going to state. And she's saying there is detainment and arrest. Exactly. If they knew the difference, then maybe things would be different. Whenever you get detained, that can lead to an arrest if you do not comply. And compliance is, yes, sir, whatever, sir, and being a yes man to them. That shouldn't be necessary, wouldn't you say? TJ, get a little bit quiet over there. I know I'm a ramble.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so detaining and arrest again, like if the charge somebody's charged with is resisting arrest and there is no other charge there, to me that's just dismiss. What was he charged with? Why was he being harassed, interacted with, bothered? If there's not some other charge there, to me there shouldn't be able to be a resisting arrest charge.
Exactly.
Unless there's some other charge, there shouldn't be able to be a resisting arrest charge.
So if more people like you actually did their civic duty and served on jury and knew about jury nullification, we could get rid of that, where there wouldn't be any resisting arrest charges by simply having informed jurors. And whenever there is a resisting arrest case, one so minor, you can have it nullified, and that would eliminate it for everybody else in the state. That happened with me in my resisting arrest case. It's unfortunate that a lot of the people, or none of the jurors, knew about nullification, because that would have been the opportunity for the people of California to do exactly that. But it's a matter of us getting to the point where we're informed citizens and then acting on that knowledge, whether it's the electoral system or the judicial system or whatever the case may be. But You've here says we've developed to a police state, and we haven't gotten to the point where we've created this utopia. It's sad because people don't even think that's a possibility. I think me and you talked about this, about how people are just so disillusioned that they don't think that a better world is possible, that things are just so bad and this is the way that it is and it's only going to get worse. So get used to it pretty much. So
there's a lot of people who believe that.
Yes. What's your take on what you've been here is saying?
Well, I would agree. I don't think that it's something that has that laws have totally ramped us up toward. Like for certain people, it's been a horrible police state for a long time. And if you want to get technical, the amount of over policing of them has been on a downward trend. Okay, now again, it's not gone, it's not stopped, it's not fixed, but it's been on a downward trend. To think that we can make laws to get ourselves to utopia is kind of silly. Like, we end up regulating ourselves to death and putting in a bunch of silly laws that get used in silly ways, and we feel the need for a big daddy government to be in and legislating and ruling over anything and everything, instead of us working out things amongst one another more appropriately more often. Like, more interaction with one another is more likely to lead to the communality of a community, so that we can actually get to a more of a friendly utopic type living. Putting in rules to legislate over other human beings and stuff, that's not the way to, you don't squash people's free will to get to utopia. Sorry, you got to change their perspective, their want, and their desire. You have to give them a hope and an idea and an ambition. You don't legislate and make laws and forcefully push anybody into utopia. It just don't work that way.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is when you would think that could actually be possible by way of the law system, when you have those law enforcers abusing the law, what good is any of it at that point? You know,
if it's possible to come to fruition, it won't be because of law. It will be because of people's changing of their empathy chip and doing better to where we don't need so many laws. You can't legislate to it. You can't law your way to people caring more and wanting to be like others-centric, others-focused, and express humility. Like, you can't legislate humility into somebody.
Exactly. But we can.
Bro. I really wish you could. It sounds great. It's not reasonable.
For some reason, they continue to try, man. I don't know why people think that. Whether it's an opinion on, your choice on if you want to smoke weed or have an abortion or drink, whatever the case may be. You have people that support legislative changes to enforce their will upon you, what they think your way of living, their moral code, whatever the case may be. They use the legislative system, which uses the arm of law, to enforce its will upon you through the rule of law, through the threat of violence. We're either going to harm you physically, financially, or take away your freedom altogether. So,
and many of those are the ones that defend the officers' actions when things go violent, even when it goes really unreasonably violent.
Yeah.
Even when it goes unreasonably violent, even when it's a big man mandling a woman, and it was words that escalated into this man getting physical with this woman. There will be people that will look at that and want to defend the officer. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't either, man. I can't understand it for the life of me. If anything, I just think it's a matter of conditioning that's been done to our mentality as a society here in America, just being shifted towards authoritarianism and this fascist mind state where everybody must think the same. It's like a group think type thing going on. People don't understand it. It's happening both on the left and on the right. Both of you doing group think instead of supporting independent thinkers and, promoting that. It's either you're with us 100% or you're against us. And it's pit us to like these extremities, these political extremists, extremism, and there is no middle ground. There is no happy medium. And nobody supports that idea anymore because they don't think it's possible. Every person that's come along politically, every politician has said that. I can find a happy medium for us all. But lately, it's been being pushed more, fascist left, fascist right. You hear what Biden is saying. It sounds just like what the hell Trump is saying, only less, I guess,
they're very, very similar, but see, one is evil and the other one's good. And depending on what color arm badge you wear, you can figure out which one is the evil and the good one, right? Like it's asinine. It's asinine. Yeah. We know that there's independent thinkers out there. We have independent conversations between the two of us. We hold some views that both sides would be like, yay, but also views that both sides would be like, you're an idiot, like thinking that we're missing the mark, when in reality it's that they've bought a corporate sponsored narrative.
Yeah, you're right. And that's really the takeover financially of our political system. A lot of people don't realize that either. Money controls the right, money controls the left. And it's just like who is it? The fucking Rothschilds. They put money on both sides of the damn war because they win either which way. Goldman Sachs does the same damn thing. They put money on red, they put money on blue. Either which way, they end up screwing you. So if people would just wake up to the fact that we need to get away from this dualistic mindset, this two-party system, what it's done to keep us oppressed,
and even more so when they're investing in red or blue ideologists with vision for their side, so that they're like investing capital into promoting the agenda with somebody who has a responsibility to return that to them with interest, right? So they really make both sides by loaning to people fighting for each side of the war, but both of them owes them the debt.
Yeah, and you're right. We have a comment here. My man Euban says, my guy's flavor of authoritarian socialism is better than other guys. That's how it is. The kind of back and forth for the statism, because they really are just both supporting ideas that will be enforced through, the iron fist upon someone else. So it's sad that we've gotten there. Hopefully people will wake up to what's going on sooner than later, come together right here in the center, you know what I'm saying, where we can all be happy and finally enjoy something new. But it's going to take a different mindset and doing something different, taking action differently to bring about different results.
Yeah, we're in a sad day, and like we've kind of shifted off of the subject of what happened to this young man, but we're in a real unique time where China finally has the ability and desire and follow through to be like moving itself off of the SWIFT system and ditching the dollar. And if we as citizens of this nation don't figure out how to link up outside of these two political edifices that seemingly have this difference of things, but they're very much alike. And right now they're wanting to like gin us up to blame China, saying China took all this stuff from us and stole all of these ideas and this, that, and the other, when in reality in 72, not long after this August, we're 50-year anniversary of the 71 decoupling from the gold and silver system, right? We decoupled from it. Then 72, Nixon's over there meeting with them, and our capitalists and our politicians shake hands and agree to lift 1 billion Chinese people out of poverty. Okay, well, here we are, close to 50 something years later, and now the little brother has really grown to a stage where they're a peer and headed toward big brotherism, if you will, in a hurry. And now all of a sudden our politicians and people want to blame them. Right. And we can't blame them. If they try to coax us into war against China, we need to go to war with them.
Wow, that's quite the statement. You heard it here, guys. We need to go with the people trying to push us into war. You know, those are the real people that are threatening our safety here. Those are the real domestic terrorists, to tell you the truth. The people that are right underneath our noses, you know, and putting us in harm's way. So yeah, we definitely fortify ourselves when it comes to our position here in this country, especially in the state of California, you know, where we are vulnerable. You know, we're a coastal state. So we want to make sure that we're protected and fortified also. My man Tom Markey says, execute the brutes. He wants to go medieval on their asses. But it's sad how brutal our law enforcement system has come, you know, where we feel threatened by them. Hopefully people will wake up to that, stop these killings of innocent people. You know, we need to have them be held responsible first for their actions before we need to be. Right? Word salad, we need America first. Right. That's exactly what we're saying. I think that's what we're talking about here, Gina Lee. So we're on the same page. You know, we just need to, again, find where we can agree on some things, stop holding on to those things that we feel like people should change about themselves morally, that government shouldn't have any business being in whatsoever, because that's how this shooting started. This man had a warrant out for being in possession of marijuana. If the war on drugs had not been initiated, and that was not a thing, and in California that should not be a thing, but it still is, it shouldn't lead to your death, you know? And that's exactly what happened here in this case. So I don't want to hold you up too much longer, TJ. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, man. I know it's late where you are, and I can talk forever. I know you can too, but
yeah. I'd like to say something to that word salad America first, man. Yeah, look, if you're so patriotic to that name America, that the people in America and their future and the effective safety of them isn't what America is about, you and me ain't part of the same America. All right. My version of like being for America isn't for slugging for Team Blue or Team Red. And like I said, if those two behind the scenes want to try and push us to war with China, we should go to war with them. Which, like I said, I say the exact same thing again. And word salad, data, doobie. These people have not been for the human beings in this nation for a long time and have been worshiping at the altar of money. And their plug has recently been pulled to the infinite juice of being the world reserve currency. And we got things to deal with, and we need to work together for an America First agenda. But that has to be around the idea of the people in America having intrinsic value, and that might have a lot to do with the demilitarization of our police force.
Absolutely. And you're right. Not only do they have us or trying to pit us to where we're going to war with other countries, but going to war with each other. You know, it's that whole divide and conquer game. And we continue to play into that divisiveness for some reason, instead of uniting and realizing that, hey, they're the real threat, the state, the establishment, you know, the government. We can love our country. We do not have to love our government, you know?
Amen.
And patriotism should be based on love of country, not love of government.
Amen.
Have people take over our government, have ill intentions, and do as TJ said, put us in the position where now we're going to war with other countries for no damn reason at all other than special interests, whether it's gold or opium or money or water now,
Or the blame game. Let's blame them for what we did.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And we got to stop it somehow. And we're aware of it. It's not like we don't know this shit. Everybody knows it. They just, for some reason, think more government is going to fix this bad government.
We just need some more laws,
right?
Some more prisons.
If we tweak it, I'll tell you, it's going to happen. We're going to have a perfect society. A perfect society is not possible, people. Period. What we can do is make a better society than the one we have now, because it is shitty, and we know it. Starts first with getting rid of our shitty ass government officials from the top down, from the bottom up, and we got to do it now. Thank God.
Bye redundant programs.
Right. Exactly. Stop all the madness, the insanity of doing the same thing over and over again, thinking it's going to fix the shit,
If our leaders, when they partnered with China to lift that billion people out of poverty, would have treated us the way the Chinese government treated their system by structuring it to be more for the overarching person, we wouldn't be in this technical difficulty that we're in. But our political situation partnered with the capitalists who funded the mechanism to get the politicians elected to make sure that they got to keep all the cookies instead of passing out cookies.
Wow. Yeah. Tell me about it. They're stacking up cookies, man. They're eating them all. We're not getting any rations at all.
And I know that sounds silly to say on a time where they've been exploding the amount of our currency and doing this stimulus and so on and so forth. But if you look historically, this all goes back to the early 70s. The amount of wealth growth that our politicians and our capitalists have had versus what has happened in the United States and the runaway of the capital system away from the wages and the difficulty to have the American dream that the average citizen have, where in China they have large empty complexes where they've built for people that haven't decided to come out of the villages yet, but they got houses for them when they do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I don't understand how we just spend so much money on other countries and instead of our own. The amount of foreign aid that gets wastefully.
Yeah, but a whole of that is the bread and butter of the politician, right? So we're going to give you all kinds of funding, and my cousin and nephew are going to work in your area, and they're going to get paid well. I get a kickback, you get a kickback, everybody gets kickback, but the American people.
Right.
So while I'm not a fan of this explosion of currency, and I see it as problematic.
Something happened with your sound.
In this position is because of historically our paper people corporate system not putting in anything to make them responsible to the future of human beings.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. There was like an issue with your sound. It sounded like a pin needle or something. Hopefully you guys can still hear, but maybe the government chiming in.
These guys are trouble.
Exactly. Saying too much.
We gotta go to jail for being terrorists, bro.
Well, we're on the watch list. Shit. Well, anything else you want to say, TJ, before I let you go? I know it's late where you are. I done kept you up way past your bedtime, but
it's all good, man. Have a blessed evening. Yeah, I gotta get up and continue with this mechanic mission in the morning. So yeah, I'll crash out.
All right, for sure. We'll get your rest, my man, and we'll definitely talk again soon. You take care. For sure, brother. Peace. Good night. All right, you guys, that again was my man TJ Shelton. Yeah, okay, great. I'm glad you could still hear. He said it just sounds like he's talking through a cup. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there, man. All of a sudden, he was just very distant. Well, I hope you guys can still hear me just fine. I got this microphone here now, so hopefully that's making my sound a bit more crystal clear. But if not, then yeah, we'll do our troubleshooting later. Anyways, I do appreciate all of you guys being here, including you, Jenny Lee, who says the last administration was addressing spending, less defense, 2%. I don't know about that. They still spend a lot, too much on defense when they have enough. And as you can see, that money on defense is being used to militarize our police and being used against us. And this administration is attempting to disarm us. So no matter what administration it is, whether this one, this flavor tyrant, or that flavor tyrant, or this flavor tyrant, they're all tyrants. And that's the thing. We can't keep thinking that if we put a different tyrant in place, one of our liking, that they're going to make things better. We got to start supporting liberators. We are the liberators. We, the community, we, the people. And that's what we got to start doing, is come together as a community, realize, like my man TJ said, that we have one common enemy here, and it is the state, the ones that are enforcing and imposing these laws upon us to try to make us be this type of society that they want, not the one that we want. We just want to live free. I'm pretty sure everybody can agree. Just live and let live, right? I don't give a damn what you're doing with your life or any of that. As long as you're not harming me, I'm good, you know? And I'm pretty sure everybody can agree with that sentiment. It's called the golden rule of life. Treat others how you want to be treated and mind your business. That's it. Police need terror training funding. I agree. Definitely, Jenny Lee. It's a shame that supposedly right now a lot of police officers and law enforcement officials do receive de-escalation training, but we rarely see that on display, especially with this recent killing. Out in Minneapolis, it's ridiculous. They just said after Philando Castile, another black man that was shot and killed by Minnesota PD, and he was armed, and he let the officer know, I'm armed, I'm licensed, okay, here's my hands, and he still got shot and killed in his car with his fiance there, I believe, and his child in the back seat. Okay, a police officer opened up fire with the child in the back seat. Okay, and since that happened, the killing of Philando Castile, if you didn't hear about that one, Jenny Lee, look that one up. But they supposedly received de-escalation training since then. And then we have the killing now of Dante Wright, after George Floyd in the same damn city. So something's going on. So when it boils down to them receiving more training, it has happened. We taxpayers have been footing the bill, contributing towards that training. We haven't seen any results. Now what are we going to do about it? We're going to keep throwing money at the problem? No, I say, if anything, we start keeping that money and spending it on those who should be receiving it. That's why I said, as governor, I'll be shifting to performance-based salaries, and it will be maxed at $100,000. So you, as a law enforcement officer, won't be able to get more than $100,000 as your base salary. If you want more than that, you're going to have to do some training, weapons training to the community or something like that, self-defense courses. Get out and involved in the community, same ones that you serve. That's how you're going to get your extra money, not just picking up overtime, sitting around on the beat. That's not going to happen. So yeah, we definitely should be changing things. Too much money being spent there, and like I said, the settlement for this family or for this killing is going to come out of taxpayers' pockets. It's not going to come out of the officers' pockets, which is a shame. Euban says, always a great conversation. Thank you again, sir. Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. Jason Tillman says, more love and freedom can make it happen. Exactly. It's a simple solution. And it's a shame that a lot of people just are not motivated anymore. They think it's impossible. And we got to fight for it somehow, because if we don't, then we let it go completely. And we just continue to suffer and live in this dystopic type of reality that we're creating, where we're going to need vaccine passports just to go grocery shopping, and mask wearing, having to wear masks and hazmat suits every time you leave the house. Who wants to live like that? And it's unnecessary. But we have people in office, in positions of power, where they are enforcing that upon us. Keep your eyes open, people. Euban says one side is fighting a heavy-handed government, the other is fighting an overreaching government. There is a common thread. That's a very good statement right there. Yeshuan, back in the house. Thank you very much. He says that they want to pay enemies for us to focus on. They make scapegoats. Exactly. Straight up. Thank you so much, man, for being here, Yeshuan, aka TJ, my brother. Golden Rule. Thank you so much, TJ. Please spread the word, as well as you, Jason. And Euban, he says Philando's murder is absolutely indefensible. Yeah, but somehow, some way, the police officer involved in that has escaped any charges. So what's up with there, and with any justice being served in the system out there in Minnesota? He also says, I don't give my kids a raise if they aren't performing as they should. We need to stop participation trophy raises for police. Exactly. How is it that police officers can be involved in situations where they've exemplified misconduct or negligence, and they get rewarded for it? They get a promotion. They end up, getting more of our tax dollars. They stay on the force. And the next thing you know, they're getting a pension for life after they retire. It's stupid. And we got to, again, stop throwing money at the problem, thinking it's going to fix things. At some point, we got to keep that money in our pocket. We got to invest it better and make sure ourselves and our children and our neighbors and everyone in our community can live safer. There's a better way to do things. And removing qualified immunity is definitely a way to do that. It protects officers that have gotten involved in a case of misconduct, and they don't have to face any criminal charges or, lawsuit because of it. End qualified immunity is being pushed right now. And like I said, Maryland, first state in the United States of America to end the police Bill of Rights. That's another thing I'm proposing to do as governor of California, as well as require liability insurance for all law enforcement officers. That way, if you are involved in a officer-involved incident and it leads to some sort of a personal injury, you paying for that out of your own pocket, not taxpayers. No more of that. It's got an end. Yeshua says, amen. Then he gave me a boo. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure it was for a good cause. Says we need to make them afraid of us. Absolutely. And also, Libertarian Hispanic Caucus says everyone is welcome to stand together. The Libertarian Hispanic Caucus and Libertarian Party tent can be big enough for everyone. Yes, it definitely can be. if you want to get involved in the Libertarian Party, right now I'm feeling anti-party again, apolitical, like I used to be when I first ran for governor in 2014 as an independent. The political parties just have failed us. They don't step up to the plate when it comes to getting involved in the community and doing what it takes to actually create that amount of change that we're demanding, that we need, that we're calling for. So if you get involved with the political party, you have to know where your money is going. You have to be an involved member. A lot of people aren't. They just pay their dues, and that's that. Whether it be Libertarian, Republican, or Democrat, a lot of people just think they are what they are based on how they vote. Are you an actual party member? How many of you are voters for, Republican, Democrat, claim to be one or the other, or Libertarian, and are not party members? Exactly. The majority of people are not party members. The majority of voters, whether it red, blue, gold, green, independent, whatever the case may be, they are not involved in a specific political party. They're not delegates. They're not going out and hosting fundraisers. They're not going out and doing sign waving. They're not doing fundraising and phone banking. They're not doing all of that shit on an instrumental level to help the party and candidates succeed. That's a closed network of people that do that. Former chair of the Republican Party of California was Governor Jerry Brown. Did you guys know that? All right. See, it's all intertwined, and the same people, and Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris and Maxine Waters and Gruesome Newsom here. They're all friends. Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they take care of each other. They wash each other's backs, and they could care less about you. As the saying goes about an oligarchy, it's a small club and you ain't in it. You know what I mean? Yeshua says that's the best answer. Them carrying insurance. If they carried insurance, the insurance companies would help be a check agent against the reach of the police unions. Exactly. And that's another thing we need to disband is the police unions, disempower them by taking away the monopoly that they have on protective services. They pretty much employ all of the police officers that are employed by the cities, wherever they work for. So if we broke up the police unions, because they also vote, put their money where their vote is, whether it be red or blue, they put money behind Newsom. That's why he's not against the police unions in California, Quiet is kept, independent, non-committal. Exactly. Don't be committed at all, to these damn political parties. Vote for how you vote. We need to start thinking like that as Americans. That's why another reason why, as governor of California, I will be implementing ranked choice voting. So we won't have to think, oh, I'm just a Republican, or I just vote Democrat, or I'll just vote Libertarian. With ranked choice voting, if you guys haven't heard of it, Google it, look it up. It's an opportunity for you as a voter to vote for all candidates on the ballot, all of them. You get to rank them based on likability. Let's say if it's a 1 through 5, and you ranked all of the candidates 1 through 5, you would give some a 3, you would give him a 1, you would give me a 5. And the candidate that has the most votes at the end of it would be the winner. Now, think about how many different opportunities that provides to us to see different type of political ideas in play, in our election system. That would be something wonderful. I would love to see what a Green Party candidate could do for, 2 years or 4 years or whatever the case may be, because we still have term limits for a reason. You get 2 years as a legislator, or assembly member or council member or whatever the case may be. Some of them 4 years, I believe. But yeah, And then, you got the executive candidates, mayors and governors, presidents. You got 4 years. Make it happen. If you don't make it happen, guess what? Your ass is fired. You're not getting a job again, Excuse me. Yay for ranked choice voting. Zeta says, what is this? You may have to play this from the beginning, but we were talking about the killing of Dante Wright out in Minnesota. He's a black man that was shot and killed by Minnesota PD. He's 20 years old, or was 20 years old. Unfortunately, he has lost his life to the hands of a negligent police officer that drew her service pistol instead of her taser, which she assumed she had in her hand when she shot and killed this man. So this just happened. It's a national story right now. It's actually worldwide. I've seen some reports from people in other languages talking about what's going on. So it's sad because this also happened in the same city where they're prosecuting a police officer for the killing of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, one of the police officers, the one that was kneeling on his neck. There were others that who knows when they're going to be prosecuted, but I guess first they're starting with Chauvin to see where things go with him. But Jenny Lee says, vote policy, not party. Absolutely. That's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to get people to vote policy over party. Look at your candidates. You got to vet them thoroughly. Find out what they're talking about. And if they ain't talking about nothing you want to hear about, then move on to the next, And if they have been in office before, look at their record, what they did before. If people did that about Newsom, we wouldn't be in this situation. He would have been removed a long time ago. People would have seen what he did with the city of San Francisco as mayor, and they wouldn't have voted for his ass. Unfortunately, they did. And now he's the governor of the state. So Euban says, under the ranked choice vote, would I still be able to have George Soros send me tens of thousands of ballots each election asking for a friend? Well, with the ranked choice voter, we would also hopefully implement other ways that we can, count those votes efficiently. I want to do blockchain voting, and that's a way for us to account for votes. Why don't we have online voting? Your computer has an IP address, and right there, you can vote from your computer. A lot of, they've switched to this damn virtual reality where we're all living online anyway. So make it easier. Let people be able to vote online. We do have the mail-in ballots. We should still have in-person ballots. This would actually create more efficiently, because think about it. If you got less people doing in-person ballots, now you can count those by hand, and you can double count those, triple count those. Matter of fact, there's third-party companies you can hire to count those ballots, and their reputation is on the line. And if it's ever audited and discovered that hey, you were off, now you get to hold people accountable. We would love to start holding people accountable. I love that word. If we could just start using that in our vocabulary more, I think America would be a much better place. We really have so much to address to be able to ensure a safe and prosperous future for our kids. I won't go quietly. If we want to stop police violence situations, we have realized it is much bigger, or we have to realize it's much bigger, I believe. Yes, indeed. It is much bigger than that. I can only go as deep as I can sometimes. I do my best to watch my tongue as a candidate. I'm not really politically correct. As you can tell, I'm profane at times. And I say things off the cuff and not according to script. But there's only so much I could say and do when I have the stage. And so I do my best to kind of jam-pack these videos and all I've done in my time capsule for you guys. So if you like what you see, please be sure definitely to subscribe You've seen it scrolling down at the bottom of the screen this entire time. So please be sure to subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube, if you are watching on Facebook, definitely be sure to follow me on there. And if you don't know where to find me on Facebook, head on over to my website, Wildstar2022.com, right there at the bottom of the screen as well, Wildstar2022.com. Hit any of those social media icons. And yeah, matter of fact, let me show y'all how that look. All right, so here's my website. A lot of people say, where is your website? I can't find it, or whatever the case may be. Here it is, Wildstar2022.com. I have these pledge cards so you can get involved with my campaign. Join Team Wildstar. We need to get involved, people. You know, I can't tell you enough. If you're not going to get involved with the political party, get involved with the candidates' campaigns directly. And that's what you can do right here by visiting my website, filling out one of these pledge cards so you can help spread the word via social media, do some fundraising, door-to-door, host a meet and greet, whatever the case may be. Fill out this pledge card so you can help me and help we, the people of California, bring back liberty, okay? Close that up. I have my platform here. You can find out more about what I'm offering to do, especially my Gold New Deal. A lot of people ask me about that, what I'm going to do about homelessness, criminal justice reform, etc. I have press here, all sorts of interviews and everything that I've done, including the most recent, which is a mention in the SAC B, Sacramento B. Yeah, there we go. So wait, I didn't want to go away from that, so I'll do it again. All right, here we go. So here we go. I got a mention in the Sacramento Bee. They talk about candidates for the recall. And where's my name at? Somewhere in here. Hold on. All right. There it is, Nicholas Wildstar. Here I am. So I got a mention in the SAC B, which is just like the Fresno Bee. It's one of the largest publications out here in California. So yeah, definitely check it out, you guys. Like I said, my website right here, all of this information. But come to the website, hit any of these social media icons, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all this good stuff. And of course, my YouTube, if you're watching out there from somewhere else and can't get, want to get onto my YouTube, here it is for you also. So you guys can click on any of those, join in and connect with me. Let's grow our audience, because that's what this is about. We have to come together. We have to keep each other informed. That's why I do these videos as much as possible. Have to create my own platform to be heard by you guys. You know, the mainstream media, they're not going to speak of me much. Even in this SAC B, you know, article, they just mention me by name. That's it. Until I start getting some money in my pocket. So if you want to help that part also, because we got to start putting money where our mouth is, people, hit this donate button right here and you'll be able to make a contribution to my campaign today. We got to fund our fight for freedom. That's what this is all about. You heard it here with me and TJ talking that, you know, the machine, it's going to make sure that it stays in power. It's going to support those candidates that keep them in power, like Newsom, which I'm pretty sure during this recall election will get tens of millions of dollars poured into his campaign so he won't get unseated for that recall. But I can do it with a fraction of the money. All I need for you to do is help me in that effort. I'm a grassroots candidate. I'm not backed by any unions, special interests, Wall Street bankers, or any big pharma people out there, okay? 100% funded by we the people. So please make a contribution today and let's bring back liberty to California, okay? I'm also fighting for freedom myself. If you guys hadn't heard, find out about the Free Wildstar campaign. All that information is here. Visit the GoFundMe page. Let me drop that banner for you here, because I'm still collecting donations for that so I can have legal representation, because I am challenging this right now in appeals court. A lot of people ask me for an update. I'll be giving you that soon, but I did file an appeal. I'm just waiting to get a notification back from the slow ass district attorney's office or appeals courts to find out what's going on. But at some point, it's going to be deliberated, or whatever the term is, the legal term is. I'm going to have my case appealed. And if it's argued to where I ended, or if it's decided to where my argument is solid enough to where I win, then I get vindicated and all of the people of California get vindicated, and we'll have our right to record our public officials protected by this case, which is People versus Wildstar. So check it out right here on the GoFundMe.com /free Wildstar. Check that out. And if you guys want to make another contribution to the fight for freedom, head on over to taxationistheft.info. Taxationistheft.info, ran by my man, Dan. Taxation is Theft Freedom himself. He's actually a candidate running for Texas governor. And if you head on over to his website right here, you'll be able to pick up any of this gear to promote the message of taxation is theft, and make a contribution to my campaign using the code GOWILD2022. That will also get you a 10% discount on merchandise, I believe. So if you want to get 10% off, as well as, like I said, be able to make a contribution to the Wildstar Fight for Freedom, enter my code GOWILD2022. You can also do so on nugofknowledge.com. Head on over to nugofknowledge.com and get your hemp and your high potent CBD products. Yes, good stuff. It's legal in all 50 states, y'all. Wherever you are, you can buy legal cannabis, okay? Hemp is not marijuana. It doesn't contain any THC, which is supposedly what makes cannabis a drug. But you can buy hemp no matter where you are. So please head on over to nugofknowledge.com wherever you are and make an order of CBD products, and use the code WILDSTAR if you want to get 10% off, and make a contribution to the campaign, as well as receive that discount. So use that code WILDSTAR, and yeah, help me help you, help we the people. Yeshua says they shouldn't be able to convict a contempt charge when the reason you were in court to begin with was dismissed. Just like you shouldn't be able to be charged with resisting arrest alone. Oh yeah, absolutely. What I am arguing right now about the appeal is that the judge that found me in contempt wasn't really a judge. No, it was a commissioner. So it's a technicality, you know, so I shouldn't have been held in contempt of court because I wasn't in a courtroom. Does that make sense? Well, hopefully this technicality will be one that gets me off the hook. And again, we'll be able to retain that right of we the people to be able to, you know, record our elected officials. But I'll keep you posted on that. Good night to you, my man. Definitely head to bed. I know you got a lot of work working on that engine over there. But get some rest, my man, and I'll talk to you soon. Same to you, Philip K, who says, go to bed, dude. 3 viewers. Seriously? Actually, no, it's more. I got about 18 here, it says, in a little box. Yeah, I got 2 Facebook accounts and a YouTube. Maybe on YouTube it's 3 viewers, but I'm glad you're here with me, Kay. I'm definitely going to go to bed now, and you do the same. Thank you to all of you guys out here for tuning in, staying up with me late. Philip, Yeshuan, Tom Markey, Jenny Lee, the Libertarian Hispanic Caucus, Zeta. I hope I'm saying that right, or Zeta. Jason Tillman. Yeah, I think I got all of everybody. The 7-Figure Maker, Jenny Lee, Yo, Miss Swaggy, all of you guys. I appreciate you for being here, especially you. You've been my friend. You definitely stay free and keep spreading the word. I appreciate y'all grinding for me and helping me get the word out there. And that's all it takes is to keep fighting a good fight and hang in there. We're going to do this together. and bring back liberty. We just have to stick it out. And till then, you guys, get some rest. Long live liberty.